Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you a recent trick that was discovered of how to potentially get yourself some increased FPS within Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, 2024, and potentially a few other games. Let's dive in. So now ideally this tutorial is going to be directed towards NVIDIA users. This does work in a way with some AMD cards as well, but primarily we're going to talk about NVIDIA drivers. So let's go ahead, and the first thing is, one thing I learned recently is that the internet lies. I know, shocking, right? But I've always followed one important tip, and that is to set the max frame rate of your uh, expected FPS in the NVIDIA control panel. And well, that is true to a point, but not for every single title. And for Flight Sim, this is a great example. Now, to understand your frame rate, one thing you need to look at first is your display settings within Windows. So how fast is your hertz on your monitor? Well, to figure that out, you're going to go down to Advanced Display, and you're going to see here what your FPS can be. So you can change it, or I should say hertz. You can change it by clicking this little button here and increasing or lowering it based on what you like. So I have a 2-monitor setup. My main monitor is about 165 hertz. My secondary monitor is about 120. So what I've done is I matched them at 120. So both now run at 120 hertz, which means, in theory, if a title, a game title, or a sim can reach up to 120 frames, that's where it's going to cap out at. My secondary monitor is a NVIDIA G-Sync monitor. My main monitor is a AMD FreeSync monitor. Okay, and that is important to understand because they essentially do the same thing. And this is a thing that a lot of TVs have nowadays, so you can get a nice smooth frame rate when it comes to watching movies or playing games on there with an Xbox or a PlayStation. So you can see this is my primary monitor and it is VRR supported. Now if I go to my secondary monitor, you're going to see it's supported. Okay, so supported VRR, and we go back here, supported hertz here. Now the reason why this is supported for my main monitor is because in the NVIDIA panel, so if I'm going to go to the NVIDIA control panel, I had to select this monitor with this setting here. So I enabled G-Sync support for this monitor, which means it's FreeSync support. This one here, you can see it's G-Sync capable. So my secondary monitor, I don't have that option down here because it is a G-Sync compatible one, whereas this one is a FreeSync one. Okay, now let's go to the second thing, and that is the Manage 3D settings. As I said, the internet does lie. Shocking. One thing I used to do all the time is I set the max frame rate to whatever I felt was best. So for my system, 90 FPS, which meant in anything above 90, the system wouldn't do. Well, that's not the case in every game. The cool thing with the NVIDIA panel, and I think you can also do this with the AMD panel, is go into program settings and you can select this for select titles, which is really, really handy. But for what I've been doing, my initial test shows that if I have it off, worked really well. The only thing I've done in this Manage 3D setting is go to vertical sync, and turn it on. And this will force it on with every single title. And now some people say you don't need it on, but from what I gather, this is the one thing that seems to be true, and that is to keep it on, because if you have a FreeSync or G-Sync monitor, it will come in handy at lower frame rate still. Okay, so let's go ahead and get out of that. Now, the next thing, this is crucial for Flight Sim 2024, is you have to edit a file. So within the sim, there is no setting that allows you to click on that and change the FPS, a max FPS. And some titles there are, such as Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I recently been playing, I can put a cap on there. In this title, you have to go into a setting. So what you have to do is find where your Microsoft Flight Sim app data is. Now this will be different based on your store purchase. So if it is a Microsoft store purchase, this will be somewhere else. If it is a Steam-based purchase, it will be in your app data, roaming, and then the title. Okay, so we're going to go to app data, roaming, scroll on down here to Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. Scroll on to the bottom where it says user cfg.opt, right click and edit in Notepad. And it's going to bring you up a whole bunch of stuff. Well, if we hit Control F, type in frame limiter and hit enter, it's going to bring you down to what we're going to edit. And by default, this is set to 0, which means there is no frame limiter. It's unlimited, but you can cap it. And how you want to cap it is half of whatever your monitor hertz is currently set at. So, for example, if you have a 90 hertz monitor, you can cap your FPS at 45. If you have a 120 like I do, I can cap it at 60. If you have a 60 FPS, you can cap it at 30. And why this plays a part is for frame generation. And this also is for the AMD's frame generation, so both NVIDIA and AMD. And by selecting 60 hertz, what it does is it caps the in-game FPS at 60, but the frame generation will still go to the max that your monitor allows. Okay, so the sim will do its very best to try to match 60 FPS. It's not going to. Flight Sim is very demanding, but it's going to do its best it can. The fake frames, as we say nowadays, the fake frames with DLSS, with AMD's, what's it called, FSR, and then NVIDIA's frame generation, the fake frames will allow the system to go to a max of whatever your hertz is for the monitor. Again, frame limiter is half of whatever your monitor can do. Whatever your hertz are, half of what it can do. You could also go and do a quarter as well. So if your system is struggling still at 60, you can drop it back in quarters, but you always want to do it in quarters. So you can cap this at 30 if you wanted to. You can do 60 if you wanted to. You can do 90 if you wanted to. But from my understanding, the best seems to be that half part. And it would be more beneficial if you cap your hertz of the monitor instead of doing the frame limiter itself. So hopefully this video gives you a little bit more frames, and in theory it's going to be those fake frames, right? But it's going to be smoother transitions within Flight Sim, not as many stutters as you move the camera. It's still going to happen. The sim is still not 100% optimized as we would like it with as users here, but you know what? We have what we have, and we're going to do the very best we can with it. As always, thanks for watching this video. Give me a comment down below if you have any other tips, and maybe if this tip has helped you. We'll see you for the next one. Take care.